Hey, it's Tamara here. In this video, I'm gonna be talking about one of the most popular anime in the world and how it inspired so many game developers to create. Yes, I'm talking about anime from Studio Ghibli. I'm a big fan of their movies and I did some research about games inspired by this amazing studio and found out a few interesting things. So if you like anime from Ghibli or you're curious to find out how a movie can be turned into a game experience, continue watching. So why I'm even making this video? I've been around on YouTube for more than a year and I always made videos that highlighted my knowledge in my tutorials or my games in devlogs. And I only partially opened up about my interests, including briefly mentioned what games I like playing. I recently played one of Ghibli inspired games and I liked it so much that I decided to do some searching for similar games. And since I've also been increasing my social media presence, it feels like a good idea to take you with me on this journey to find the perfect Ghibli game. And by the way, I'm now on Twitter and Instagram, so follow me there. Hopefully I'll be more active there if I have more people around. Ghibli movies are just a really big part of me, and as I recently discovered that few people like these movies, I started talking with members on my Discord server and turns out quite a lot of people like these anime movies. If you're still not on my Discord, you're missing out on a lot of fun with me and other game devs. So this is your chance to join, link is in the description, and become a part of an amazing community where you can share your work, get help, and chat with a lot of cool people. I even joined the voice chat sometimes, so don't be shy to start one. Back to the Ghibli movies. Let me tell you a little bit about why I even started looking for Ghibli-themed games. Recently, I have become really fond of this game called Little Nightmares, and I think I know the exact reason why I liked it so much. It's not only because of the great mechanics, the movement and stuff. The game doesn't really have the same aesthetics as Ghibli Universe, but it has a few references, and you'd be able to spot them if you watch Spirited Away. Long story short, I have become so interested in this theme, so I wanted more. But turns out there aren't many of such games around. When I say a Ghibli-themed game, I mean a variety of things. A game can have the favorite characters and the overall feeling, the art style, the music, and even the game's plot. And these are all different aspects. These movies have a significant, distinct feeling that you get while watching. And I've heard a really interesting thought about this. Ghibli movie is a sort of like an experience itself, so you don't really need to make a game out of it in order to experience it. To be honest, I like everything about the movies, and you can probably tell by my personality that I grew up with Ghibli movies. I always admired the strong female characters from the movies that impacted me throughout the life, and I have so many lovely memories from watching these movies with my family. One of the most significant things that you can find in a book or in a movie is of course the plot. So let's talk about games that have references from the plot of Ghibli. Such games doesn't necessarily need to have the art style or the music like in Ghibli movies, but it still will be recognizable. And one of such games is Zelda Breath of the Wild. A few characters were inspired by the Ghibli movies, and also the inspiration of the overall aesthetics is most likely from Ghibli movies. The next title I've already mentioned, and it's Little Nightmares, and you can definitely see the inspiration all over the place. I mean, the overall feeling is far from Ghibli because it's sort of like spooky, almost creepy. Well, it's definitely creepy. I think the overall plot of Little Nightmares is similar to Spirited Away, but instead of an old lady, you get this young, beautiful antagonist. Okay, I'm not gonna drop any spoilers. Another thing that you can see in Little Nightmares is gnomes. They resemble Sue sprites, and they even replicated this scene with a huge dome that gnomes had to power. Also, the first thing that you see is the staircase on the menu screen, which is also a reference to Spirited Away. Apart from these things, I think Little Nightmares is a really cool game because of the mechanics and puzzles. The next game that I want to mention is Horizon Zero Dawn, and it resembles the movie Nausicaa. It has a female protagonist, fantasy creatures, and also war. I haven't watched Nausicaa just yet, but I feel like this movie will mean more now to me that I'm going through war. A lot of people are asking me now how I'm doing, and I want to tell you that you can find out about this on my Discord server as well. The next huge category that we're going to look at is graphics and music, so we can just call it art. The first title that I want to mention is Forgotten End. Not only does it have the graphics, but it also has a somewhat Ghibli-like story, and a strong female character, of course. I think the overall feeling will be pretty good in this game. Another one is Battle Chef Brigade Deluxe. In my humble opinion, the mechanics in this game are not exactly up to the style, but the graphics that they use are okay. It's like 3 in a row mechanic. It's not really up to the theme, and that's exactly why I only include this game in the graphics category. Yet another game that can just blow your mind with graphics and music is Behind the Frame. I saw a really interesting review about this game. Somebody said that it's just like Ghibli had an ASMR, and this is just so accurate. You get soothing music, beautiful graphics, and a calming game mechanic. So if you're looking for this sort of experience, you can totally play this game. It even has that breakfast scene from Howl's Moving Castle. The next big category is probably one of the most important ones that you can get out there, because when you're looking for a Ghibli themed game, you're probably looking for the experience that you can get from their anime. So you're basically looking for an immersive experience where you can have the graphics, where you have the similarities in characters and mechanics resembling something from the movies. And the first game that I like to mention here, and it's probably one of the most popular ones, and you probably know it, it's Okami. The art style might feel a little bit different, but it has an appreciation for Japanese culture, and this is a really big part of why people liked it so much. It reminds them of the tales they used to hear or the anime that they used to watch. The next one is actually an experience that you can get from the movie Arrietty. Short backstory, the movie is about a tiny girl and her family. They call themselves borrowers because they go up to regular big humans' houses and get small things from there. So in this game, you get the experience of being a small human on Earth in some sort of a garden, living where everything normal is bigger than you. Unfortunately, this game doesn't have the art style similar to Ghibli, but at least it gives you the most immersive experience. I think it would be really cool to play it in VR. And the last one, but definitely not the least, is Spiritfarer. It's a really close game for the Ghibli theme. This is because you get the art style and you also get the story. The game is about taking care of spirits, which is a huge part of Ghibli Universe. I think you can even see the resemblance in the spirit characters. Apart from all those games that I mentioned, I also have a few titles that can be considered Ghibli themed, but they don't exactly fall into the categories, and the resemblance is kind of too subtle for me to notice. But I've heard people saying that these games are inspired by Ghibli, so I'm going to mention them anyway. The first one is really well known, and it's Celeste, and somehow it's inspired by Kiki's Delivery Service. Honestly, I cannot really see that, probably because I just haven't played it. It doesn't really fit into all those categories that I define, because it has pixel art, which is already far from the anime. The next one is also a really well known game, Stardew Valley. I've already mentioned it in a couple of my videos because it's a really good example of what a solo game dev can do with a lot of time and dedication. And it is said to have a resemblance of the anime Only Yesterday. It has that getting back to rural life vibe, distancing yourself from the city, that sort of stuff. And of course, this video could not be without the actual game from Studio Ghibli. Yes, they made one. It is called Ni no Kuni. I personally haven't played it, but I have seen clips from it and the graphics are pretty good even though they are 3D. Ghibli likes making their signature hand-drawn graphics, so doing a game in 3D is a pretty big step. Actually, it was a collab with a game studio. The game has a lot of cutscenes that are completely hand-drawn from what it seems, so you get this Ghibli anime experience. I don't know if I'd like it if I played it, but you should definitely know about it in case you're looking for such an experience. So why there isn't a full Ghibli style game yet? Is that really that hard to make a Ghibli game that'll have all the elements like art, music, beloved characters, and plot? No, it's not hard. It's just impossible. Because of Ghibli's copyright. A little backstory: when I was prepping for this video, I was researching in an attempt to answer this question about the lack of Ghibli-themed games, and I found a video from another creator who had a few popular videos about Ghibli, and they were all taken down, because Ghibli won't let anybody use their work, even if it's just some short clips or pictures. It's fair, but it also sucks for us Ghibli admirers. And this is also the reason why I didn't put any of the clips from the original movies. Though a couple of years ago Ghibli released about 400 images for non-commercial use, but YouTube falls under the category of commercial use, so I didn't use those either. Having said that, game developers can only get inspiration from Ghibli movies, but they cannot fully replicate the experience. It can only be done by Studio Ghibli or some game studio that acquires the right to use Ghibli's work. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed watching this video and getting to know me a little bit better. Maybe you learned something new about the whole Ghibli universe. Let me know in the comments what are your favorite Ghibli movies, and if you know any Ghibli-inspired games, drop the name in the comments as well. Don't forget to check out my social links. And see you in the next video. Bye! And of course, I did not forget about my patrons, so I want to thank everyone who supported me and welcome George Schwartz, Jonius, Travis Johnson, Deathly Dose, Not So Good Translator, Fabio Dantes, Janice Santiago, Arifa Litwowska, Paul Nguyen, Justin, Jonas Hackety, Benja Fondon.